School records of these two boys?
These two young men have very good records at the school. They are average students. Their attendance record has been very, very good. And there haven't been any discipline problem through the 3 years that they've been here.
Well, this month in jail will be quite a setback to them, though, won't it?
Be very, very hard on them. They will have to do a tremendous amount of work. And, well, they just have to work harder if they spent this money in jail.
I believe that it is, and I believe that it was at the time I filed a motion to mitigate the sentence for the boys. I thought that after being in jail for the weekend, that the boys had learned their lesson and that they would be better off in school attending classes.
What do you plan to do now?
Well, Judge Klein has always been fair in the past, and I believe that we're going back before him with a petition for rehearing, asking that the judge reconsider his prior decision and let them go back to school.
I do not believe in residence requirements in the public welfare field. However, irrespective of what I believe, this is a problem that must be resolved by each and every state making its own determination. I believe that we spend far too much time for the results that we obtain in terms of dollars spent and dollars saved. I believe the time that we spend in investigating a matter of residence and the money spent for salaries in the administration of this program do not return to the state the dollars in saving that people expect or hope for. For that reason, and that reason alone, I think we could devote this time in much more beneficial ways to help people back to self-support, self-care, and self-sufficiency.
I'm very anxious to see that in the field of the interstate area and primary roads, perhaps on 27, where we're expecting some real progress, perhaps on 41, perhaps on Interstate 95 south of Jacksonville. There will be some acceleration of the program that has been heretofore announced. And these are only a few of the areas that we are looking at.
For example, a man whose physiological studies reveal function commensurate with a man in the second or third decade of life will undoubtedly present a performance capability of much greater proficiency than that indicated by his chronological years. Conversely, the younger man with changes which physiologically place him in the older age groups will present a less proficient performance.
It would seem to me that the orderly procedure for any reorganization of any department would be in accordance with the charter and subject to the approval and recommendation of the county manager. As I read it, this has not been done. And certainly any such reorganization should have first the prior consultation with the county manager, and under the recent charter amendment to the charter of Dade County, should be presented to the county commission for approval or disapproval.
We have not reorganized the department. This is simply an internal reorganization of the detective division. We have violated no rules and no regulations. This chart, a reorganization chart, has been submitted to the county manager, and it will be then submitted to the county commission on the 6th of November for their approval. At that time, we can take the action. We did read the City of Miami survey, and we found some things in there that possibly we could correct in our department, and it certainly indicates to me that it's only good sense to try to prepare yourself for an inspection or a survey to the best of your ability. And we are going to make certain internal changes, but not the accusation that's been made that we have violated the commission orders, we violated the Cranon Amendment, we violated the orders of the county manager. This is untrue. We haven't done any of these things.
We don't agree with this decision. We intend to appeal it as expeditiously as possible and get a just ruling from the Court of Appeals in behalf of our people. We cannot understand why the court would deny our people their right. We will also seek any other means to settle this dispute that we possibly can.
Will there be any difference in teachers at Nova High School from other high schools?
The teachers in this high school will be highly trained, and each will be required to possess a master's degree in their teaching field, and will be retrained and reorientated into teaching in this program.
Mr. Wolf, how will pupils be accepted at Nova High School?
Students may attend this high school from all areas of Broward County, and we will accept those students who desire an education and are serious in pursuing a hard training program in the academic areas.
When will Nova High School open?
September 1963.
The report simply has not been acted upon in its final form by the planning board, with the result that it has not been formally presented to either the county commission or the county manager. However, the early part of this week, the request was made to Mr. Gordon, chairman of the county commission, to arrange a meeting where the report could be presented. The planning board originally, or the planning advisory board, requested the planning board to start this study so that these services could be more equitably adjusted, and so that in turn the county taxes could be used to the benefit of all the people in the county, and not have certain areas, in a sense, dependent for their services upon taxes paid by other areas, which is what it amounts to now.
Many services that should be carried on area-wide and must be carried on by metropolitan government. But those services that can be left to the municipalities, we suggest it's well to leave those services to them. Such things as libraries might well be provided county-wide, most efficiently, effectively, and at the lowest cost. It's not the type of report that can be translated into action immediately by a resolution, for example. Under the present charter, it would have to be acted upon in a certain sense many times by referendum in annexation actions and incorporations.
Last week, in a speech in Havana, Fidel Castro said, "Only students who profess to be Marxists will be allowed to enter the University of Havana." This is a positive indication that the people of Cuba do not have the right of self-determination. And this certainly refutes the idea expressed by the governments of Mexico and Brazil that Cubans may freely express their will. We, therefore, call upon the government of these two countries to re-examine their non-intervention policies with regard to Cuba, since they now have another proof that Cubans do not have the right of self-determination.
The present voluntary treatment program is inadequate for our needs, and feel the urgency for a study of the involuntary commitment programs of the other states so that we can benefit from their experiences and set up a program in Florida whereby we can rehabilitate the alcoholic who is a sick person rather than fine him or send him to jail.
This is no time for any citizen to indulge in panic or to be jittery, such as the stock market in New York reacted today in indicating a jittery feeling. This is a time for calmness based on strength, for fortitude based on knowledge of the fact that our nation has whatever is needed to meet the emergencies that lie ahead. Just as the National Republican Party has already acted through its National Executive Committee in assuring President Kennedy of its complete backing, so I think the whole nation will respond in this time of critical need. What we must do is back our leadership, stand together as a united nation to meet the challenge, and remember that fortitude and willingness to respond to whatever our own responsibilities require us to respond to should be expected of every citizen and of every office holder.